Hello, and welcome to the Whoever Podcast, a Christian podcast for non-Christians. I'm Andrew.
I'm Brian, and today we are coming to you from Mark chapter 10, verse 46. Then they, so here we're talking about Jesus and the disciples again, then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me!" Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me!" Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," Jesus said. "Your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. So that's our text. Andrew, context?
Yeah, Jesus has been teaching, he's been healing, he's been doing these things. He's sort of begun preparing the disciples for the fact that he's going to be crucified and die and rise again, and now they're on the road to Jerusalem, and so Jesus kind of has these monumental things going, and as he's walking along the road, he hears this guy screaming, "Son of David, have mercy on me."
Yep. And I love the response here in verse 49. It says, Jesus stopped. So just to understand a little bit what's going on, this is like the march to Jerusalem. So Jesus' ministry has been building up to him going to Jerusalem, dying on the cross, rising again, and saving the world. So that's like the main event. And this is Jesus. He's walking to this. So this is the road to Jerusalem. He's on the way to doing this. He's got a huge goal, a huge thing coming up. But he stops for one man because he asks for help. And I love this because it's a reminder that God cares about us on an individual basis. We're not just a number. We're not just a face in the crowd to Jesus. He cares about us on an individual basis. Jesus stopped. When we have problems, no matter how small our problems are, God cares enough to stop and look at them.
Yeah, this guy is screaming, "Have mercy on me. I'm over here. Help me." And the people around him are like, "Shh. Be quiet. Stop yelling. We're all
Shut
trying
up,
to
we
watch
have stuff to do." Yeah.
Big important people are doing big important things. Be quiet, you person who sits on the street and begs. Like, that's the outcome. And Jesus, while he's headed to Jerusalem, he's about to go talk to the Roman governor and the chief priest, and these big things are going to happen. And he says, Bring the guy over here. Don't tell him to shut up. Just bring him here. We're going to, So Jesus cares. Even in the midst of everything that's going on, he cares, right? No one is beneath his notice.
I think there's a big application for us here, too, that God might be calling you to do something really big. Maybe it's talking to a bunch of people about Jesus, or going on a really big mission trip. Whatever it is, God might be calling to do something really big, but on your way to that big thing, don't neglect the little things God calls you to do. Even just a simple thing as taking a minute or two to pray with someone, or to, stop your routine and say, "Hey, you know what? I know this person or this friend of mine who's going through a hard time right now. I'm going to take 30 seconds to pray for him, just in my day," or whatever. Don't get so consumed with the big thing that you miss what God is setting as an example for us of caring for the little guy and stopping for the little thing.
Yeah, as we've said, both of us have worked in churches for a long time. The thing that I always noticed in the pastors and the people who were above me that I respected the most was, despite the fact that they were the senior pastor, or they had this big position, they never gave themselves permission to just stop caring. They never said, "Well, I don't really deal with people," right? Like, "Oh, someone is here who wants to talk to the pastor. Someone is here who needs help. Someone is here because, they like the church's help in some way. Let's pawn them off on someone else, or send them down the office to Andrew. Have him deal." Right? The guys that and women that I respected the most, they always said, "No, bring that person in. My door is open. I literally leave it open for this reason. Have them come in. That would be behaving like Jesus.
Right. And I think that's true for any point in our life. When we run into something small, sometimes it's tempting for us to say, you know what, I just don't have time for this right now. Or, you know what, I got other stuff I got to get done. And maybe there are instances where that's true, but I think by and large, take just a minute to help out somebody, or take just that minute to pray for someone, or say hi, or make that phone call, or whatever it is, because that's what God sets an example for. That's what He calls us to do, and that's how He shows us to do it here. So I think that might be all we got for this episode.
I think so.
For this text. But if you got any other questions, feel free to comment below, or you can reach out to one of us. Until then, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.